Welcome everybody, I am Ed Cruz and this is the last lesson and today's subject number 64. And notice I've been kind of ranting and raving over the last couple lessons on life, spiritual stuff and so forth. It's a mixture. I want a mixture of stuff and not just simply doing physical stuff also. I looked upon it in the sense that when we start to train, the focus in the beginning is all the physical, right? You're physical, but you want the balance of that. And why limit it only to physical and mental? Because the outcome of both physical and mental lead to the spiritual. Because looking back to my own training, it wasn't until basically 2010, 2011, almost like you could say 10, 11 years training with Sifu, that I was like, okay, let's look a little bit deeper on this side and see if that's the case. Now, I think part of the subject is, people are like, well, can you really digest it at the particular time? It's kind of like kids. You tell kids what they can hear, and sometimes you give them stuff that they can't really comprehend or understand, but you're planting the seed, and eventually, when you're ready, you give suggestion, and so forth, and then eventually they can accept it as fact. So, or that lesson that you're trying to teach. So in that case, I don't think there's anything wrong. In fact, it helped. I think basically it's a more balanced way of teaching when you teach physical, mental, spiritual, and life in general, all tied in. So today's lesson, episode 64. 64 is actually called standards. Raise your standards. What does that mean? Raise your standards in any aspect that you have in life, and where you are at this particular time, at this particular moment, is what you're satisfied with. It really is. Think about it, right? Think about it. You see a lot of people on the internet and they're complaining, oh, I can't believe it. The government got away with this. Oh, the rich aren't getting taxed, or what say you? Okay, what's happening to them or any outside force is totally, in reality, irrelevant to you. For example, a couple months ago, they taxed the hell out of Elon Musk. He had to pay whatever, how many billions of dollars, right? And everyone's good, that's a good job, man. The rich should pay their fair share. Okay, after he was taxed, I want to ask you, realistically, after that occurred, after all those billions of dollars were given back to the government and so forth, how has your life changed from that? All right, because in reality, if all of a sudden that happened and you're like, oh man, everything's much better now. Wow, that's awesome. That's awesome. I got a better girlfriend. I moved to a better life. I got a new car. I got a better job. And guess what? The reality is, for the vast majority, after that occurred, nothing happened. No shit changed, right? Because what happens to the outside is irrelevant. It's up to you to raise your current standards. And what that means is, bitch or do, right? I always say about bitch or do. If you're unhappy, it's like someone's always, for the last 10 years, someone's complaining, oh, this job sucks, I'm not getting paid anything, and you just whine. The reality is, you're not that unhappy. It really is. You're happy. That is the standard you set for yourself, and you're willing to accept it. If you're unhappy with your job, then a sacrifice has to be made. In other words, okay, you don't like your job, then you're going to have to find another form of training, okay, or another route. Maybe you have to get more education or something like that. So the fact that you're complaining for like 5-10 years and you don't like how the things are going, it is not that bad. Because if it was really bad, you'd make that change, okay? That means you'd raise your standard. And for a lot of people, that standard, it's hard to see. I get it, because if you're like, wow, this is all I know, this is all I'm aware of. Like I think there's videos where they take like someone from Cuba and they bring them into a Walmart for the first time, and they're like, why is there a store with all this food and stuff available to you where you can just get it just like that? It's non-existent, right? They don't know that kind of life even exists. So it is an unknown, but you got to ask yourself, if it really is that bad, right? Raise your standards and make the change for yourself then. Don't be dependent and waiting on some individual to make it for you. So I always give the example, right? I wanted my Wing Chun to be really good, exceptionally good. I wanted that my Wing Chun to be just like Sifu's, top notch. And that was back in 2000, right? I didn't have I had no plan. I didn't have a plan other than I wanted to be that good. And I was unhappy with my current status. I was actually unhappy back in 93, 94 as I searched and tried to figure out a way, right? How can I get my Wing Chun better? So I went with a slew for 5, 6 years, slew of different teachers. And then eventually within that time frame, I got to Sifu by 2000. So at that point, I was already to the point where I was like, yeah, I'm unhappy, but I'm doing something about it. I wanted to raise my standard. And then as that individual raises his standard, he's trying to figure out, this works, oh, this doesn't work, fuck, gotta go back to the beginning. This works, this doesn't work, I found my way. So where you're currently at, if I just simply said, oh, this sucks, I'm just gonna do Wing Chun like this, nothing would have changed. Nothing would have changed until you raise your standards to where you're like, I want to get better. I'm going to figure out how to get better. I don't care if I make a mistake or several mistakes or 100 mistakes. That is the standard I want. I'm here. I want to be up here. What's the price that you're willing to pay to make that change, right? So all too often I hear people, okay, like for example, you hear me, oh, I hate Chicago. Or really, the weather sucks and property taxes is terrible. Yeah, I do that. Realistically, I do that for 2 reasons. One, to sound more human. But two, if it was really that bad for me in Chicago, guess what? I would move. I can move if I wanted to. So in reality, it's not as bad as it seems. Yeah, I bitch about it. But like I said, if it was really bad, you would change. You would make a change then, right? And that's usually the case for many people, that it's got to get to that point where you hit rock bottom and see Jesus, and then all of a sudden that change does occur. So in essence, when you can do it on your own, not wait for that to occur to hit the rock bottom and see Jesus like this Sunday, because tomorrow's Easter, well, when you get to that point, then everything starts to work out for you at that point. But if you're happy, right, if you're bitching and not doing anything, that standard is exactly where you should be. Sorry, that's just the reality of it, okay? So hopefully, looking at your Wing Chun, say, I don't have any time, make time for yourself. I don't have any teacher, find a teacher. They're out there for you to help you out, right? I don't have a partner, you can find a partner in this day and age of the information society of the internet, all right? So figure a way out, be a problem solver, raise your standards, and get exactly what you want to do, okay?